on A&P by John Updike. So let's talk about the author first of all. John Updike was an only child, and he was born in Reading, Pennsylvania in 1932. His mother was trying very hard to be a very popular writer, so he was very much influenced and helped by his mother a lot. Many of his stories that he wrote, the setting is like very similar to where he used to live, like the areas around where he used to live, so it's very relatable to people who live there. Education, his John Updike graduated from his high school as co-valedictorian, and because of that he received full ride to Harvard. And once he graduated, after getting a bachelor's degree, he went straight to work at a magazine called The New Yorker. And while he was working at The New Yorker, he wrote many short stories and editorials. He even wrote poems. And one of the short stories he wrote for this magazine was known as A&P. Now, the story A&P that he wrote is about a boy named Sammy who is a cashier at a supermarket. And he thinks he can read people very well. He assumes that everyone in the store that walks in and leaves, they act like sheep because they all do the same thing. They come in, they buy stuff, and they leave. So one day, a group of 3 girls walk in who are wearing nothing but bikinis, and instantly, being the boy Sammy is, he takes interest. And he follows them around the entire supermarket as they're searching for one thing to buy. He notices that one of them is the leader, quote unquote, and the other 2 are followers. And he takes very much interest in the leader because she acts like she owns the place. She acts like a queen. She just walks around. She knows she's getting looks, but she does not acknowledge them at all. On their way out, they get to the cash register, and they get yelled at by the manager of this establishment, who tells them that they should be wearing a lot more than just bikinis. Sammy, being the hero that he is, tries to defend them. And he did this in order to get their attention, maybe hoping that they would talk to him or like take interest in him. And of course that didn't work. So they leave the store with no consequences, and Sammy still wants her attention. So what he does is he quits on the spot and follows them outside. Now as he's quitting, his manager warns him that there are very big consequences to quitting. He supports his family by working. He helps support his family by working. And the manager says, you don't want to do this to your parents. But Sammy knew that. He knew that, and he still decided to quit in order to follow some girls. So when he leaves the store, he comes outside and he sees that the girls have already left, and his entire scene was to no avail. And now he is hit with the realization that he just quit his job. He's let down his parents. He's let down his manager. He looks back and he sees his manager just instantly take up his work for him with no facial or no reaction whatsoever. So my analysis is that John Updike wrote a lot of his stories around the lives of common people. So stories you'll see every day, but he puts a spin on it. He tries to make them as detailed as possible, trying to bring out every little thing to make it a good story, even though these are very common occurrences. So I believe the story was made to show how very small split decisions can have very big repercussions. So for example, Sammy quitting his job on the spot in order to talk to some girls. It cost him some money for his family, and his reputation went down as well. I believe the story also shows that people are not easy to understand just by looking at them, because Sammy thought he had the girls pinned. He thought that if he were to make a scene, they would take interest and maybe try and talk to him, but that did not happen. Now the setting is also a very important aspect of the story. Back then, A&P was a very large supermarket. In fact, it was so large that you could switch out the word supermarket with the name A&P and people would still understand what you were saying. So I believe Updike used this setting to make it very easy for people to imagine this scenario actually happening in real life. And I believe it is still possible to this day with your local supermarket like Walmart or Whole Foods or something like that. The next thing I want to talk about is the characters, specifically the 2 main characters being Sammy and the girl that was deemed as the queen of the group. One is desperately seeking attention of the other. So Sammy is desperately trying to get the girls to notice him and talk to him, and the other is simply going about her day. She came into the supermarket, she knew what she was wearing and she didn't care, and she bought what she wanted and she left. I believe this is a very good example of the general public. For example, celebrities. Everyone wants to be a celebrity. Everyone is trying to meet a celebrity, talk to a celebrity, be friends with them, maybe get something from them. But the celebrities could not care less about losing or gaining a few fans here and there. So in conclusion, this story is about simple characters in a simple mall making simple decisions that have not so simple consequences. Story is very easy to imagine as it is. The setting is very commonplace. You could imagine this happening in like a Walmart or something. And I believe the story has a very big emphasis on how people act and how other people assume what's going on. Because more than, I would say about half the story is Sammy just trying to guess how each girl interacts with each other, such as the main one being the leader and the other two being the followers. And he's also trying to read everyone else in the store, calling them sheep and whatnot. So I believe there's a very big emphasis on that. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for watching.